Damn it. Alright, Chelsea have lost 4-0 to Manchester United in the opening weekend of the Premier League season. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. Welcome to 6 things that we learned from Chelsea's 4-0 defeat against Manchester United. I've just come off the back of doing a live stream where I didn't plan to do a stream today. I'm in London right now. This scenery behind me right now is my friend's apartment. And yeah, Chelsea have been absolutely smashed by Manchester United. I've got plenty of things to talk about. Sadly, my energy won't be as high because we've been humiliated really on match day number 1. I think whatever the scoreline, despite the performance, more like whatever the performance really, the scoreline in Frank Lampard's first game was going to be the headline writer. If Chelsea got smashed, which we just did, everyone is going to be piling the media pressure on Frank Lampard. Something that I've done countless times during pre-season is analysing what we've got, what we don't have, looking at positives even when there's been alarming negatives to discuss. And the first thing that I think we need to talk about is the first goal. And we started the game very well. If we look at the first half in 3 different periods, because I think that's the way the game was played. First 15 minutes, the first half, Chelsea looked really, really good. We were pressing highly, we were dominating possession, and then we gave away a penalty thanks to a mistake from Zouma, which by the way, it wasn't his first mistake, even within that first 20 minutes. And that's the first thing we've really learned in this game today, is that Zouma, as good as he may have been at Everton last season, as much attention as they were giving him in the transfer window, it's not looking like he's going to cut it at Chelsea. From what we've seen today, if that is anything to go by, Zouma is not going to be good enough to be able to marshal the Chelsea defence this season. He gave the ball away to Martial with the most ridiculous of passes, which Martial should have done better with. I don't think he was expecting it to come to him, and he did have some time. It was a dreadful ball. And then the foul on Rashford, it's just so clumsy. Like, there was no attempt to play the ball, and there was absolutely no questions from me, particularly as a Chelsea fan, and I don't think from anyone else either, as to whether or not it was a penalty. Zouma gives it away. We go 1-0 down, and it completely changes the way the game was played. United started to dominate. They had the fans behind them. They were kind of playing off of that momentum that comes with scoring a goal. Sometimes it can be dangerous, but Chelsea were only really affecting them from outside the area, and United started to get a foothold in the game. Going into the final 10 minutes of the first half, Chelsea started to get back into things. Ross Barkley, who I don't think had his best game, he was the first player to come off the pitch. I don't want to focus on Ross too much in this match. Let's stick with Zouma for now, but you know, Chelsea. But as soon as you go 1-0 down at Old Trafford, you leave yourself in a very sticky situation, no matter what team you are. Now, the second thing that I want to focus on, and as you can see, we've got a green box here today, and there's not really many green boxes that are deserved if you lose a match 4-0, but I am going to focus, point number 2, on a player who got forward a lot in the first half, and I think that despite the defensive frailties that we're going to go into in far greater detail as this video goes on, but Emerson was a great positive for Chelsea going forward. By the end of the match, he actually had more shots on target, I think, for Chelsea than any other player in the team, which is a worry because, well, at the same time, you kind of need strikers to be doing that, and then your defenders contributing as additions on top of what the forward players can do. But Emerson was a bright spark for Chelsea down the left-hand side. I can't really say this without any grin on my face because I'm just trying to find some positives to take from an embarrassing first game of the season, really. I'm trying to keep my head as like unbiased as possible and just focusing on what we saw on the pitch, but I'm flipping gutted. So point number 3 that we're going to talk about, the final 3 points of this video are pretty much going to be focused around Chelsea's defending. But point number 3 is that Frank Lampard is not afraid to make changes early. It's something that has been criticised of Maurizio Sarri. I think maybe with Sarri it wasn't always the earliness of the substitutions that we were craving. We were just craving something different to Barkley for Kovacic and vice versa. That was pretty much what we saw every game for the first 2/3 of the season under Maurizio Sarri, and as fans, it got very frustrating seeing the monotonous changes coming in and often a little bit too late. It was the same under Antonio Conte. Frank Lampard saw that Ross Barkley wasn't having as big of an impact as he would have expected or as he would have liked. There were times in the first half where Ross just looked off the pace. He looked as though, again, he wasn't confident enough to use his body to be able to compete with someone like Paul Pogba, who's a man mountain in the midfield. And he took off Ross Barkley in like the 56th or 57th minute, which to me is a positive. Frank is not afraid to change things if it's clear that what he's seeing on the field isn't working. And at this point, we were still only 1-0 down. So it was a change to me that was made with a positive approach moving forward as to trying to get back into the game. Leading us into point number 4, and I can't focus on positives anymore really in this video because, well, what the flipping heck is that? You know, 17 seconds. Let's talk about the second goal for a moment. I'm not going to sit here on this channel this season and try to come up with too many excuses as to why Chelsea should have maybe had this foul in the build-up or the game should have stopped for... No, I'm just going to scrap all of that and focus on the clear, obvious lack of leadership at the back for Chelsea. If we focus on the players that were on the pitch, Azpilicueta is Chelsea's captain. There's always been a question as to whether or not Azpilicueta is a commanding enough character, a leader, strong enough to take over the captaincy in the long term from John Terry, who's arguably one of the best Premier League defenders of all time, Chelsea's best captain ever as well. Questions have always been asked of him, and to concede a third goal, if we don't focus too much on the second goal, which was a brilliant ball in from Pereira and an easy finish from Martial with poor defending again, just to keep to the topic here, the lack of leadership at the back. To concede 17 seconds after the restart when you just go 2-0 down, there's no excuses for it. Absolutely no excuses. As a team that won Europe's second best competition last season, you cannot excuse that at any stage. And from 2-0, you could see, because of the positives of Chelsea having opportunities, getting forward, we didn't look awful. Yes, most of our shots were from outside the area, and we only really forced De Gea into 1 or 2 decent saves, and the majority of it was straight at him. But we were getting forward enough and having enough attempts to be able to say, well, at 2-0 down with like 20 odd minutes to go, you could still see us getting something from the game. To concede a goal straight after that, there's just no excuse whatsoever, and it's all down to a lack of leadership. So I guess point number 4 and point number 5 go hand in hand really. If I'm gonna use Azpilicueta as part of the blame, we've got Reece James to come in. Maybe that's something we're going to see much sooner than Frank may have expected. I'm not going to rule out Azpilicueta. I'm not here to scapegoat him as the only person at fault in the defence. I think if anybody had a good game defensively, it was Emerson, and Christensen was definitely the better of the 2 centre-backs. Point number 4 is lack of leadership. Point number 5 is pure and flipping simply a lack of concentration. I mean, even I could see, and I wasn't even on the pitch. Okay, arguably, yes, I'm just sat here eating fruit pastels doing a live stream. Don't mind me. The fruit pastels were the best positive I can take from this game, to be honest. It was great fun. Concentration has to improve from Chelsea. You can't really fault Kepa too much for the goals. It was simply all across the back line. I think Jorginho was positive today as well. I'm throwing all of the blame on that defence and a lack of leadership and a lack of concentration. It is just not allowed at this level. And if Chelsea can't fix that anytime soon, we are going to have a very tough season. So I think one thing, before I go into point number 6, is give credit where credit is due today. And Manchester United were very, very good. I didn't expect them to be as good as that. I think Wan-Bissaka had as good of a debut as you could possibly have. I think Pogba didn't start the game all that well and then slowly grew into it and then controlled the entire match. And for me, the way that Chelsea were going to win the game today was by dominating the midfield. Paul Pogba, say whatever you want about his attitude, whether he's going to be a United player come the end of August or not, Juventus may still come in for him. He was absolutely instrumental in everything they did positive today, United, and they were so clinical compared to Chelsea just being so sloppy. And if you talk about sloppy defending versus clinical attacking, you ask yourself to lose the game. You're literally writing the script for yourself. And then if you can't be clinical going forward as well, there are absolutely zero excuses that I can come out with today as to why Chelsea have lost. So credit to Man United, well played to them. And I think that if they can perform like that this season, they're going to be looking potentially for that top 4 as well, even though I said they were in 6th. Point number 6 though, before we really end it on anything I've just said there, is it is the first day of the flipping season. I'm seeing people already jumping on the Frank Lampard out bandwagon, and we're not just talking about like a bit of sarcasm anymore and a bit of like dramatic irony from Chelsea fans. It's real, and I think that yes, we've been beaten 4-0 today, and I'm not going to spend this entire 6 things video talking about like little positives we can take. We had a few shots on target, we had more attempts and all of this stuff. There are so many things that need to be worked on and fixed in order for me to have confidence in this Chelsea team now moving forward from such a humbling defeat really. To lose 4-0 on the opening day is never good enough. But I don't want us to all jump on this bandwagon of going against the manager. I fully expect next week it's a tough game, Man United away, whichever Man United team we're talking about, be it 2009, the Ronaldos, Berbatovs, Tevez, Rooney's, or this Man United team of youngsters, Daniel James scoring on his debut as well. It's an exciting Manchester United team. Next week we've got Leicester City at home with that sandwich game in the Super Cup, which I kind of almost wish we didn't have now, against Liverpool in midweek. Don't lose all the faith yet. I have been extremely positive and I will continue to try and bring a positive spin on all things Chelsea this season, but it's very hard for me to do that today after a 4-0 defeat. I'm actually really angry and annoyed for all of the reasons I've said in this video. I've tried to keep my cool, tried to keep level-headed, tried to be fair to United as well as bashing Chelsea for the performance, but I'm not going to jump on the Frank Lampard out bandwagon. Absolutely not. It's game number 1. There were positives to be had, and I think 4-0 is a flattering scoreline for Manchester United. But like I said in the point leading up to this, if you're playing against a team who are being very clinical and you're being very sloppy, yet you can't be clinical going forward, a 4-0 defeat is exactly what you're going to get. So yeah, I've been stood up in this video today. I streamed for about 3 hours and then got straight into filming this and editing this and uploading it for you guys. So apologies if I'm a bit down in the dumps. I'm sure you can all understand, and I'm sure a lot of you have got your own points to make as to what you think of this game that we saw today. Man United 4, Chelsea 0, not the start that we dreamed of. Certainly wasn't what I predicted. I thought Chelsea were going to go and win the game today at Old Trafford, but we failed miserably. 4-0 United, well played to them. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is this something that we can get used to? Shipping in a ton of goals. I said it throughout the whole of pre-season. We've clearly not addressed anything, and we lost a flipping leader in David Luiz, and that's exactly what we needed at the back today. So questions will be asked, rightly so, but I'm certainly not throwing the towel in after week number 1. Thank you guys for watching the video. As always, this is the most popular series on the channel. Be sure to give it a like if you did enjoy it, and as always, the conversation doesn't end here. It continues in the comments down below. So let me know your thoughts there. I will catch you tomorrow with another video. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I have a funny feeling it might be about this game again. We'll see. See you later. Bye-bye.